So, Matthew 25 verses 40, it says, "Whatever you did for the least of my brothers and sisters, you did for me." Now, have you ever wondered why you do the things that you do? Or have you ever thought that you've been disappointed because you feel like you haven't done enough? You're worried that what you're doing isn't good enough to get you into heaven, or that God is looking down on us because we're not doing some great big things for him. Well, hopefully by going through these verses, it'll change your mind and you'll be able to think otherwise. Okay, so the context of this is that Jesus had just arrived in Jerusalem and lots of crowds and people had gathered to see him because they'd heard all about him. Now, he started off by addressing the crowds, talking to them about various things, telling them to be prepared, to be ready, that they need to be ready for the time where he dies and is resurrected, and when he comes back to bring everybody back into heaven. Now, he then arrives at the temple and starts to move away from the temple and go elsewhere, and he's having these conversations with his disciples. And he ends up telling them a series of parables, a series of stories. And this one, it is a parable about a king. The king, the king is referencing himself and God in heaven. The king has this large kingdom, and he separates his people into the sheep and the goats. To the sheep, he says, "You guys have a place in heaven. You guys have done a fantastic job. You have clothed me when I've needed clothes. You have fed me when I've been hungry, and you've looked after me, and you've done well for me." And the sheep were like, "Hold on a second. We haven't done anything for you. We haven't clothed you. We haven't fed you because you're the king." And then the king says this, "Whatever you did for the least of my brothers and sisters, you did for me." So essentially what he's saying to these sheep is, you have served other people all of your lives. You've clothed them, you've looked after other people, you've given them food. You have done all of these things towards other people. Therefore, you have done them for me. And then in the same way, it goes a little bit further down, and he addresses the goats, and he says, "You guys, no, you're not allowed in. You guys are going because I tell you what, you have not clothed me, you have not looked after me, you have not given me food when I've needed food, so that's it. You don't have a place by my side in my kingdom." And they said, "But hold on, what's going on here? We didn't know that. How are we supposed to do all those?" And then Jesus kind of flips it and he says, "Whatever you did not do for the least of everybody else, you did not do for me." So what we can get from this is that God cares so much about how we treat other people. That is a huge priority to him. How we treat other people is a reflection on how we think of him. If we are looking after our brothers and sisters, if we are looking after the people around us, then in a sense we are looking after God, because we are looking after his people also, his people that he loves. Another thing I gather from this is that helping others, it is actually advancing God's kingdom. It may seem like a small thing, but really by helping others, we are bringing a light to this world. We are showing them what the gospel means by doing good for other people. So if you're ever discouraged, just a quick short word: whatever you do for the least of your brothers and sisters, you are doing for God. And nothing we do for other people goes unnoticed by him. He is grateful for all the good things we do towards other people, and by doing that, he is saving us a place in his kingdom for all the things that we do for other people.